What's up guys, HOTSHOTFRONTIER back at it again with another video, and in this video I'm happy to showcase my Mimighoul deck profile post Banlist. And of course this is a really cool deck to play. I love how flip monsters in 2024 are an actual thing, but let's go ahead and get started with this deck profile. And of course, before we do, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for more videos and hit that notification bell so you guys are updated the moment I upload new videos. But of course, let's get right into it. And again, really happy with the deck. Now, just a little disclaimer, this build is a little more expensive, but if you guys do want to see a more budget-friendly version, let me know and I'll be more than happy to go ahead and create that for you. But let's go ahead and get started with this build. And of course, let's start off with the main monsters. So of course, we do have the Mimighoul Master. We play 3 copies. Now, some people play 2, but personally, I like to max out my 3 copies of this card. This card is pretty good in terms of surviving battle. So if you're in a situation where you're worried about dying, this card actually survives as long as you control another Mimighoul monster. Plus, has the effect to actually go ahead and flip the Mimighoul monster you give to your opponent and activate their effects too. So not only that, it can actually search another Mimighoul monster itself when it's normal or special summon. So really cool monster to have in the deck as a 3 of. Next up, I played 3 copies of Dragon, 3 copies of Archfiend, and the 1 copy of Cerberus. I love how they have the effect of getting themselves over to your opponent, and of course that's how you activate a lot of their effects a lot of the time, but also the fact that they're very offensive and defensive depending on the situation. Now Dragon has to be the best Mimighoul card in the entire deck, because if it's on your opponent's side, flip face up, it can destroy all their monsters on their field, which is great. If you want to normal summon or special summon this card, you can add a Mimighoul spell trap card from your deck to your hand. Archfiend is really good because if your opponent controls it, it's flip face up, you get to draw a card, or you can send a card from their hand to their graveyard. Plus, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can flip something on their field from face down position to face up, which is great. So if you have a dragon on their field, flip face up, go ahead and blow their field up, which is amazing. And then Cerberus is the least useful out of all of them, but it's good to have at least a 1 copy of, because it'll help mill their deck to the banish zone, and then they get to choose a monster to get to you in defense position. Also, if you control this card, it will protect your spell cards on your field for being targeted, which is great. But moving on to the spells, Mimighoul spells and traps for the deck, we play 3 copies of Dungeon, 2 copies of Maker, and 3 copies of Room. So personally, Dungeon has to be one of the most broken fill spells I've currently read. I think a lot of fill spells are actually that way, but Dungeon is insane. The fact that it will give your Mimighoul monsters attack equal to their defense, which is great. Plus, you can go ahead and the second effect, if either player controls a face down card, neither is allowed to normal summon, which is broken. Also, special summon monsters cannot attack. And finally, you're able to continuously add a Mimighoul monster from your deck to your hand once per turn while this card is on field. Maker is great because it'll give your opponent the choice to randomly choose 2 Mimighoul monsters that you choose from your deck. One goes on field, the other one goes to your hand. Plus, you're able to interact with your opponent. If they special summon a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard and be able to flip something that you gave them face up, so like Dragon, and blow their field up, which is great. Room is good because it will either set up something on their field or have you have some Mimighoul monster from your deck onto field to get additional effects. And then Engrave, it'll pretty much emergency compulse cards, Mimighoul cards from your graveyard to your hand to kind of replenish your resources. Pretty good, but that's it for the Mimighoul engine. Moving on to the other cards in the deck, we play a very small Cashtira engine in the deck. We have 2 copies of Unicorn, 1 Fenrir, 1 Rightsoft, and then of course 1 Birth. So Unicorn's great because they'll be able to look through your opponent's extra deck and banish an important piece that they need. Fenrir as well, be able to search the Unicorn, but also be able to banish something on field, which is great. Rightsoft to search either or. And then of course, Cashtira Birth is another great card in terms of the disruption to have. So it's good that you can actually play a small Cashtira engine in the deck. I think the deck does need it in terms of, just having more power. But moving on, we do have some hand traps for the deck. And of course, we're on 3 Shifter, 3 Ash, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. Again, great with Shifter, great interactions with cards like Cerberus. But of course, if you can't play Shifter, definitely play Shifter because this deck 100% needs it. Ash and Infinite Impermanence are of course mandatory in a lot of builds nowadays. Moving on though to the spell cards, we currently have 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet because we do need some board breaker cards, either this or Dark Ruler No More. We play 2 copies of Thrust, with the one talent, of course, so turning the maker into 4 copies of maker, which is great, or any, additional +2 ofs. And then of course talent is always great to take something or draw. Now we do have the 1-ofs, prosperity, terraforming, call by the grave, and then for the 1 trap card we have the 1 angel statue as a rune. So you guys already know what we have in the extra deck, but yeah, the 1 prosperity is oof, but hey, we still have to play it. It's a great card to have in any deck. Now guys, that is it for the main deck. We currently are on 42 cards because I did want to make sure I fit a lot of cards in the deck. But let me go ahead and show you guys the extra deck. So starting off with some link twos with the deck, we have 1 Little Knight, 1 Masquerena, and 1 Silhouette Rabbit. This is great because it will set the Azarune, summon it, destroy a spell trap card that your opponent controls. Plus, a lot of people forget that this is an illusion monster and it can't be destroyed in battle, which is always a great interaction. Next up, we do have 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Griffin. Always great to see all of them in one deck at the same time, but Unicorn you'll most likely use for Masquerena, if not go into it by itself. Griffin's great as a end board piece or going into it later. Then we have, of course, Access Code Talker and Close Warp for the, of course, taking monsters, and then we do have the Access Code Talker for FTK. For the XYZs, guys, we actually run 131, 1 Nightingale, 1 Fucho, 1 Downer Magician with the Zeus, and of course, the Superstar Slayer. So pretty much 31 is pretty easy to summon with 2 level 1s, and you can go ahead and trigger off your other Mimighoul effects on your opponent's field, which is great. Nightingale to attack directly. Then you have Fucho to protect yourself against something like Tempai in the battle phase. Go into a Downard, stack a Zeus on top, and then of course Superstar Slayer. If you're stuck in a rough corner, you can go ahead and use this until you get out into a better situation. But that's it for the extra deck. Let's go on to the side deck. We do run a very small Bestial Engine in the side deck with, of course, the 1 Magnemute, Drius Worm, and Saronir. Magnemute can also go ahead and search out your Mimighoul Dragon, which is funny because it is a dragon monster. Finally, for the remainder of the monsters, we have 3 Nib, because of course you guys know it's pretty standard at this point. Really strong in this format. Next up, we have 2 copies of Dimensional Fissure, very strong to have in this deck. 2 copies of Lightning Storm with the 1 Duster, and of course the 1 Barrier. All good targets for triple tactic thrust as well, so keep that in mind. Plus, Lightning Storm is great for Mimighouls. You can easily set your cards face down, so you can actually activate this more than just on the first turn, of course, going a second, which is great. And then, of course, rounding out the side deck, 3 evenly matched. So guys, that is it for the side deck and for my Mimighoul deck profile post Banlist. I'm really excited to be playing this world premiere deck, and I cannot wait for the new support that is coming out in a future set. But guys, if you did like the video, make sure to give it a huge like, and of course comment down below, do you want to see a budget friendlier version of the deck? I can easily go ahead and make one for you guys if that's what you want to see. And if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you're updated the moment I upload new videos. But alright guys, that's it for me. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.